Spittle Spew Hi-Shelf. At Hi-Shelf.
All right, well, this is the Spittle Spew at Hi-Shelf. We're here with Mark Sinnis from Apostate's 9th House, 825. What are we doing now? What are we doing now?
Mark Sinnis in 825.
And above my head like a river, and I'm free. Oh, sweet Jesus.
You moved out of New York how many years ago?
Moved out 3 years ago, and I have an 825 South down in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I have 825 up here. So I have the two 825s, and I go back and forth between the two.
Very nice. And you're here tonight for Court of Lazarus?
Court of Lazarus. I've played the Court of Lazarus. I must have played 10 times over the last 10 years, 15 years.
Nice.
You even played with me once.
I think so too. Yeah. So I'm just curious. What's the music scene down there like as opposed to here?
I think the music scene everywhere kind of sucks right now, to be honest. You hit a sensitive issue with me. Basically, we're living in a time where it's acceptable to play covers, and we have a lot of cover bands, even in New York. We have them down south too, so that's my competition. You play a cover, everybody gets up and dance. You play originals, and they sit down.
So you won't be doing "Don't Stop Believing" in your set tonight?
I won't be. If you come see me, you're going to be sitting down a lot, because I play all my own songs.
All right. Nice. Speaking of which, you are an extremely prolific writer. How do you just keep churning out this material?
Well, let's see. I came here with a girl today, and she's up in New York right now, upstate New York, in the house, because we just broke up. She came with me from North Carolina. So unfortunately, every time I seem to move in the right direction in my personal life, divorce, breakup. So that's definitely a big influence, and just life.
So a double album next year from Mark Sinnis?
I don't know, man. I have a line in one of my new songs on the new album that's not recorded yet, and it says, "I'm writing the same song of love that has gone wrong." So it seems to be the story of my life lately.
I hear you.
Somebody's got to do it, Zach.
That's right. No, I understand completely.
Oh, I know there comes a time when all that lags must be left behind. The way I felt for you, mistaken for love. Oh, I followed the way of the blind. I could not see were your friend or foe, my enemy. Oh, I should have fought for you, mistaken for love.
You're somebody who's, regardless of quote-unquote making it or getting signed, you are an artist, you write your songs, you perform live.
Nobody's signing me.
Yeah, consistently. So what is like, you have a lot of people who feel like, they're not legitimate artists unless they're making $1 million on a record label, but you're living the life regardless. What's your philosophy? How did that come about, or is that a decision, or how do you feel about that?
I'm a very stubborn old mule, number one, and since you were in the band, I refuse to change. So people are always trying to tell me, especially now with the covers, oh, you should throw some covers in the set, and or it's hard to get gigs down. I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina right now by the beach, and it's all bluegrass and kind of happy stuff, and here I come. They actually put me on the cover when I moved down there of Encore magazine, which is our music magazine, and it's a picture of me, like a dark photo, and it says Mark Sinnis casts his shadow over Wilmington. It's a front page.
Nice.
And when the guy interviewed me, he said, "We really need somebody like you down here," but I haven't been able to get any gigs. It's been very hard.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because you're not doing Bon Jovi?
No, there was one brewery that I tried to play at, and they went to my website and they were terrified. And one of my friends tried to get me in there, And he was sitting there one night, and he said, "Oh yeah, I got Mark Sinnis to play my Halloween party." And they were like, "Oh, we should have got Mark for Halloween." Like, that's like the only night of the year I can play.
Well, now see, that's kind of
bullshit when you hear my songs.
You see yourself like nobody else. You see half the man. I know I can, but the skeletons won't go away. They're inside you. God's been good to me.
right, because you're from New York and you went further south, and you're not it's not fair to categorize you as just goth. It's more a lot of country influence.
Oh yeah, very Americana, dark Americana. They probably wouldn't give Johnny Cash a gig today if he came out. That's how I feel. We were listening to The Cure on the way here tonight, and I said, man, The Cure, they wouldn't get a gig today. Nobody want to hear that shit. Nobody want to hear The Cure. Right. No, not the dark stuff. And in fact, that's I feel it's come full circle now. I mean, I think the culture we've created with music, especially with American Idol, all these silly shows that are on TV, create this culture that it's okay. We've dumbed down music for people to the point where we have to give them this music they already know, where they won't look for anything new. I'm talking about mainstream right now, and that's filtering down into just everyday people. A lot of people just don't want to seek new music these days. Very few people, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's funny too because I was watching this commercial for this music program that you don't know how to play piano in order to write a song on piano.
Exactly, and we're auto-tuning vocals, as if it was bad enough that we did it in the studio. Now they're doing it live. So I think there's always a pushback. Hopefully that's going to happen, but I still think the people that are in position of power these days in the industry, they're just keeping this at the mainstream level right now, and again, that influences people on the regular level when they go out to see live music. That's just what they want to hear. I see it firsthand.
Oh, well, now you have a lot of bands and artists that maybe used to be quote unquote signed and live a certain level of success that are bemoaning having to pay for their own records and pay for their own tours. But you've been doing that since day one. You've gone to work and paid for your own stuff. How do you feel about that as a working artist now that everyone's having to do what you've been doing? What are your thoughts on that?
I remember back in my punk days having to put ads in fanzines and go out and send cassette tapes out to people. So I actually, in one breath, I really like the way that music's more accessible today. I don't need a label. I make my own videos. I record my own music. I put it online. I even have my own barbershop down in Wilmington with a stage. I have my own shows. So I pretty much just do my seriously DIY at this point in my life, and it's satisfying that I don't have to change what I do for other people, and I just continue to do what I do. Okay. That's it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. What's in it for you? It clearly isn't financial reward.
It's cheaper than therapy.
Okay, nice.
That's it. I mean, we know I don't get the women, so.
No, you get them just for not very long.
Yeah, maybe for a night. So, yeah, it's music is part of my spirit. It's what I do since I discovered punk rock back in the '80s. It was just my calling, and now it's 2020 and I'm still doing it, and it's just what I do.
All right, so there's no, I would say, do you have any expectations on the horizon for the business, but you're just going to keep doing what you're doing?
I'm happy now. I just do what I do. I mean, I lived in New York City and I had that period where everybody comes here to make it, and when that doesn't happen, you're left with this question, well, what do I do now? A lot of people just quit, they retire. I'm actually enjoying it more than I ever have, because now I'm doing it. I'm just doing it. There's no timetable on it. I have to make it by a certain age. I'm putting out the music I want to put out. Everything is just done my way. So it's great. It's actually rewarding.
Okay, nice.
Less is more. Fall into it when the sun what's less is more. You crawl, you turn full into it when the sun bows to the moon.
So you're saying when you're down south, you have to put on your own shows? There's no like...
It's been hard to get shows, so we play at the barbershop a lot.
So it's funny because in your music, I mean, there's just as much George Jones as there is Susie Sue's.
I don't know. People that maybe it's I don't know. I really can't answer that. I think it's everything else, like other bands that are around for years, and it's just not their time, and people just aren't interested in what they're doing. Look what happened with the Misfits. For years, I remember reading interviews with Glenn Danzig, and he wouldn't talk about the Misfits. He said, you know what, when we were around, nobody cared. Now they're playing Madison Square Garden. I rest my case.
Right. Good point.
Rest my case.
All right, nice. Do you have any long or short-term goals that we might be interested in?
I try to do an album a year. We just recorded at Sun Studios in Memphis. Very excited about that. We have 10 songs, all originals, and it was such a being into that kind of music, Elvis, Johnny Cash, since I was a teenager, and actually going there and recording was probably, we just did this last April, my moment where I realized that that's all I needed. That's all I needed to do. It wasn't about the money, just going there and recording. So I want to continue to do stuff like that. Keep recording, keep playing, putting out good music.
Was there any particular takeaway from your experience at Sun Studios?
Yeah, they were so cool. They were so cool. We got there. We were supposed to record from 7 to midnight. We didn't start till about 8, and we finished at 2:30. And they let us sit there and drink beer and whiskey till about 5 in the morning.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. It was unbelievable.
You did it all in one day?
We did it, the whole thing, live, Zach. You're gonna love the recording in that 4 or 5 hours.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, for somebody like when you said, I have tried to do an album a year, you could probably do 2 albums a year for as much material as you make. Where do you just set a natural talent, or you just grind it out? I mean, what's your approach with that? How are you so prolific with it?
I do have a system. I'll record an album, then I need to kind of take a little mental break. I always do. I'm not one of these people that's always writing. I'll take a mental break. About 3-4 months, 5 months. I'm not interested. My head's not in it. And then all of a sudden I just get into it and I start writing. And I actually, this last album, the next album that's going to come out that's not recorded yet, I did a lot of writing for the first time in my car. I'm using a little technology. I have my phone and I'll start just coming up with melodies and I'll record them and I go home and then I take them to the next level. So just keep doing what I'm doing, keep writing, and I think, like I said, it comes in cycles like that.
Do you so you feel a whole album coming on when you write, or a song at a time?
Yeah, usually one at a time. But I know, like, when I'm getting ready to do a new album, I'll just start cranking them out. Okay. I wrote a song actually last year. We had a hurricane, and a funny story. I had 2 bottles of wine and like a third of a bottle of whiskey, and I had no power for 4 days. I was all by myself. And I didn't prepare for this hurricane, so I had all this free time, and I wrote a song during that. So,
okay, nice.
It's a pretty dark one too. Okay. We're gonna do it tonight, actually.
Which one is it?
It's called Empty Train.
All right. So all your artwork, you've saved everything. All your artwork's up online, and all your songs.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a website?
MarkSinnis.com. I also have a YouTube. If you go put in Mark Sinnis. I have also a rock band, Ninth House. We don't really play that much, but I mean, they're all the same songs. You also played in that band. So everything is up on the YouTube channel, and everything is up on iTunes. Ninth House, Mark Sinnis. So.
All right, sounds good. So in closing, any philosophical notes or perspectives you'd like to share with the universe?
Don't let anybody tell you can't do anything. I got out of the military. Never played bass, never played an instrument other than trumpet as a kid. told my friends I was going to start a band, a punk band, and they laughed at me. 31 years later, I don't need to say anything else.
Very nice. All right, it's Mark Sinnis, the Spittle Spew at High-Shelf. Check him out.